Well, now it's time to check your money with America's money maven, Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. Vicki Brackens, how are you today? It's going to be a hot week.
It's going to be a very hot week. Can't you tell, George? It's already hot.
You already at the beach.
I'm already at the beach, George. Listen, I'm glad to have a chance to talk to everybody today, and hopefully everyone is starting to enjoy this. I don't want to call this the last month of summer, but I do live in Central New York. So we have to start at least thinking a little bit about the fact that we're starting to turn the pages on the calendar and starting headed toward fall. So let's go out, everyone, and enjoy this next 30, 45 days and make sure you get plenty of rays and sunshine and spend some time enjoying what has been a pretty glorious summer for us this year.
It has been great.
It has actually been great. So I think we left off our conversation last week, George. We're talking about the fact that we wanted to look at, I said winter is coming. Remember that?
You did say winter is coming.
I said winter is coming because I was concerned about how things were starting to line up on the unemployment numbers, that we were starting to see some stalling in the economy, and that the possibility of actually losing some of the momentum that we had around job creation. Although July ended up being a stronger month than we anticipated, we're still, that jobs number is what's called a lagging indicator. So it looks backwards, and we're looking at what's going to happen going forward. So having cash and having cash available going to be key to getting us through the next several months. So I told everybody to go through and run some scenarios and really look at what the possibilities would be if we had a slowing down of the economy. How would you sustain yourself? Yeah. I never thought coming into this week that we would actually still be talking about Congress not passing the relief bill.
Right.
But we are still, into this weekend with no bill on the president's desk to sign, with no details as to where we're going to go. And so again, having your own liquidity is going to be key. So I promised we would look at some issues or some ways to raise cash that you may not have thought about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and one of them being your life insurance contracts.
That's right.
If you have permanent life insurance contracts, there is a possibility that there may be a cash component to those whole life and universal life contracts that you can tap into in order to create liquidity to move forward over the next few months if needed. Now hear me very, very carefully.
I'm listening.
I did not say cash out your life insurance.
No, you did not.
I did not say cash out your life insurance.
We're talking about the cash value, right?
The cash value. I didn't say cancel your life insurance. I said you could utilize the cash component of your contract if you had a whole life or universal life contract to either borrow against or to take a partial withdrawal. But you absolutely want to keep that contract in force. So before you do that, do not pick up the phone and go, cash out my life insurance. No, contact your representative, contact your individual financial planner, whoever it was that worked with you to put that plan in place, and walk through some of the alternate steps for accessing cash in those contracts. Because
Vicki, accessing cash in those contracts. I just wanted to reinforce, you have been talking about cash life insurance as a means of building legacy wealth. So
correct.
How good did it feel for you to hear George Fraser last week reinforce everything that you just said?
I felt like, yay, okay.
Yeah, right?
Okay. Right? I've been talking about that for years.
Yes.
As far as an asset to create legacy wealth. So when I heard that last week, yes, I did. I did say, how do they do it, George?
Okay, right.
All right. Okay.
As we brush off our shoulders a little bit.
Right. Okay. But I was happy to hear another professional reiterate, more seriously, reiterate what we had been discussing.
And also bigged up the financial planners like yourself as a necessary component for building wealth as well.
Right.
So,
in fact, he put professional advice was his number one category.
Isn't that
So
something?
I'm sitting here listening to your segment, after I was off the air, and I'm going like, thank you, George. George. Okay, thank you, George squared.
And thank you, George.
Okay, and George. Okay, so, but getting back to what we were saying as far as the one of the ways is that if you have a cash component in your life insurance, you may be able to use that in order to sustain yourself if you run into cash shortages. Now, George.
Yes, Vicki.
I heard something. Well, I didn't just hear something. There is all over the news is an item that I want to discuss. Okay, and that's something called SUSU.
It's all over.
Okay,
everyone's talking about it.
Blessing Cash Apps.
Blessing Cash Apps. Yes.
Okay, so again, hear me clearly. I am not endorsing either. This is an explanation so that we understand what's going on. SUSUs are I shouldn't say well-known, but a type of community savings that has taken place for hundreds of years, originating out of Western Africa and the Caribbean.
I was going to say the Caribbean, they do that all the time there.
Okay. But it actually, if you go back, came out of West Africa.
Okay.
Here is the thing that you have to understand about banking or money pooling in general. And this is also true in the formalized banking community. Money exchanges, capital exchanges take place and work because of two things: trust and accountability. Trust and accountability. When you look at the formal banking segment, your Chases, your community banks, okay, and so forth, the fact that you get a statement every month is an indication of the need for accountability. The fact that there are regulations associated with banking as far as how much has to stay in reserve, and you have the banking commission that's following through as far as making sure banks are solvent, that accountability makes those systems work. But at the core, we trust those institutions because we can go and do one thing for the most part: put our hands on the building and know that they are there. Okay? A SUSU has some of those same components because we're talking about community. And usually it's anywhere from 10 to 15, 20 people who get together and make a commitment that they are going to save at a certain rate per week or per month. Usually it's per week. And they hold each other accountable so that the hand is, and I really want to say this. I'm going to give a shout out to, I won't use a full name, but she'll know who it is because she listens to me religiously. MC taught me this, okay? The hand has to be, which is passed around each segment. If the people don't hold each other accountable, if you have any non-trustworthy people in the system, they will weed themselves out because the community, because you're in a closed community of people who know each other, will ostracize you, will shun you, and you end up breaking your social contract in such a way that you are not going to break the SUSU. You are not going to cheat. But you have to be extremely discriminative in the beginning in selecting those people who are in the SUSU.
Sure.
So what happens is in the beginning, the individual who receives the money up front is effectively a borrower who is going to continue to pay on cycle everyone, and it moves from person to person to person. So the person who happens to be in is drawn randomly.
Drawn randomly, right. So you might be week 3, you might be week 7.
Exactly.
Or week 20.
Oh, 20, okay, all right. The person who's at the end is effectively a saver because they're waiting and waiting and putting money in and putting money in and putting money in. I do know from some conversations that sometimes you can select a week, but most of the time it's random, okay?
Right.
And when you have the opportunity to select a week, it's really around a goal that you have.
Right. So like, I'm going to do this thing in July, so that's when I want my payout.
Exactly, okay? But everybody has to agree. Now, there are no formal contracts like you have with banking. There's no formal oversight from government for FDIC like you have in banking.
So that's,
but you do have an informal contract that's driven by your community and your community's culture that will typically hold people accountable. But wait, I want you to wait.
There's more.
Okay. There is something going around right now called the Blessing Circle and Cash App, which is a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme means that the output only works if new people come in because you're effectively building a pyramid. And only the people at the top or maybe midpoint are going to receive anything because the only way it works is that you continue to feed it from the bottom and add more and more and more people. You didn't hear me say anything in the SUSU that throughout this cycle we were adding more people. This is a closed loop.
Right.
Okay. But they've taken the good things about a SUSU, as far as its community history, overlaid it onto something that is illegal, 100% illegal. Ponzi schemes, the Blessing App, it is illegal. You should not get in. I will say this, you should not get involved because you have not only the non-accountability of the regular banking system, you have no accountability because you have no idea who the other people are in the pyramid that you are sending your money to. Whereas with the SUSU, it is a closed loop system. You are looking at each other. You know who they are, who the people are that are involved in the system. I know the SUSUs came about primarily because formal banking systems didn't exist in a lot of communities. And they needed community ways of saving. And also because of some of the regulations associated with fees and charges and identification, all the things that make the formal banking system not one that is necessarily accessible to all. I would encourage most people though, in fact everyone, get involved with formal banking because you miss one thing that's extremely important in all these systems.
FDIC insurance.
FDIC, there you go. FDIC, okay?
Federal
you know that from your days in banking, FDIC.
Yes.
Okay.
And the thing is, but here's the thing, right? Just for the record, some people listening to this, you saying don't do it, it's illegal, it's Ponzi. Some people have gotten paid from it.
Of course. How many people have gotten paid from other illegal things?
Correct. Okay.
Okay.
So you're telling people
that's the only way illegal things work is somebody's got to make some money in order to entice other people to make money, to send you the money. Okay?
Right.
Okay, so just because somebody made money does not make it illegal and doesn't mean that the system is going to crash because it will crash under its own weight unless you continue to feed from the bottom.
Well, it's going like wildfire through the community right now. And it's a rebirth because it was out about 3 years ago.
Exactly.
And one of the things I saw, Vicki, just for the record, is that why they're using Cash App is because the key about Cash App, it's only people that you know. So you're in, quote unquote, well, here's what I'm saying. When I say people that you know, you're agreeing to be in that conversation and accept and send to those people, which then negates your opportunity to complain because you're saying, I know this person. Right.
Okay. So, it's like anything where you're trying to I'm going to use the word swindle someone. You got to have a little bit of truth sprinkled on it.
But that's why I think, and I heard that's why they don't use PayPal anymore because you could dispute PayPal.
Okay. So I hope that explanation helps because I know there's been a lot of talk, concerning that.
I wanted to say, I mean, I wanted to bring it up because this is happening. People are being solicited, and whether they do it or not, They've heard from you what you think.
Exactly. And as I said, okay, this is not an endorsement either way. All right, George, I just want to remind everybody of a couple of things. August 20th is fast approaching. And I thought I would just share with everyone or remind everyone that you should go ahead and go on to brackensfsn.com, okay, as far as our website, and register for our event that's coming up on August 20th. Guess what, George?
What?
I'm having a jazz harpist as one of our guests.
Okay,
Can
now
you
Vicki
believe that?
Brackens. Yes.
A jazz harpist.
You trying to get fly on me now?
Yes, I am. Okay. So we're going to send out a new blast on Twitter and Facebook and so forth with all the lineup of all the artists. But I would say that at this point in time, looking at how rapidly people are starting to sign up, you should go in and register quickly, because we are starting to fill up. All right. If you have any questions, area code 315-930-4499, or reach out to us on Facebook, on our Facebook page. Follow us and follow us and subscribe on the YouTube channel for Brackens Financial Solutions Network. And at this point in time, George, I will say our plate is full.
All right, that's Vicki Brackens, America's Money Maven. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. Your money brought to you by Brackens Financial Solutions Network.